Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders that do rule a great millstone. Peace and salutation to the Akia mother pushing his gospel in sincerity and truth. Say shalom to the humble and sincere sisters out there as well. This is the brother Kalam from the GMS Short Camp, coming back at you with another lesson entitled, How a Husband Supposed to Treat His Wife. How a husband is supposed to treat his wife. Because the previous video I did was how a woman and how a wife ought to treat her husband. And I went into the fact that a woman have to be submissive. She has to be under the command of, be that subordinate to her husband, to acknowledge him as the superior vessel, to acknowledge him as the head, to acknowledge him as the lord of the household, and to be that aid in his life, to be that help in his life, to be that pillar of rest. We went into the book of Proverbs where it say, she shall do him good and no evil all the days of his life, which again, a beautiful precept, a beautiful, to think, a woman like that, is truly a yappa thing. Right, but on the flip side, there's also a way that a man ought to treat his wife. You understand? And this would be a quick one. So let's get into it. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 25. It says, Husbands, love your wives, even as Yahushai also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. Now the same way we say a man, the same way a man will submit to Yahushai, will submit to Yahweh, a woman is supposed to submit to her husband in the same manner. But the same way Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai loves the men, we ought to love our wives in the same manner. You understand? Because the woman is commanded to be subject unto her husband. The husband is commanded to love the woman. So let me get the word here.
Strong's G25, agapao.
It says of persons to welcome, to entertain, to be fond of, to love dearly, of things to be well pleased, to be contented at or with a thing. Right? So to love, it says to love dearly. Right, let me get our word. It says dearly, worthily, excellently, with tender affection. It says at a high price. Right? Their adjective, it says precious, valuable, costly, expensive, glorious, noble, loved, beloved, regarded with affection. Right? So this is how a man ought to treat his wife. Regarded with affection. To be precious. She should be precious unto him. She should be valuable unto him. Right? It says, and here what it says, love your wives even as Yahushua also loved the church. So think about how much, love a man had to come with. And what Salakia, right? If I come across wrong, it's quite obvious you would not love a harlot. Understand? You wouldn't love a harlot. And these things, that we read here, in these times that we in, it's not gonna be perfect. You understand? It's not gonna be perfect. You know, all I regard with high esteem and all the love and all these things. It mightn't be, because it might be rather difficult to love these women. You understand? It might be rather difficult to love these women like Yahusha I love we. You understand? Because of the state that they are in. But the virtuous woman, if you have any, this is how you ought to treat them. You know? There's a way that they ought to treat you, and then there's a way that you ought to treat them. You understand? So it says the same way Yahushua loved the church and gave himself for it. As that same love a man's supposed to have unto his wife. It says 20, it is so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourish it and cherish it. Let me look up these words. Nourish.
Strong's G 1625. Ektrefo. Ektrefo.
It says to nourish up to maturity, to nourish. Right, so let me get it here. See what it say. It says nourish, to supply with food and drink, feed, to bring up, to nurture, promote the growth or development of, stem, to raise, bring up, nurture, foster, maintain, provide for, to feed, nurse, foster, to support. Right? So what we gain from it is that a man is supposed to nurture up a wife, in the sense that he's supposed to provide for her. Right? You read that in if a man would take another wife, I think it say her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish, roughly paraphrasing it, because it's a man's duty to provide for his wife, him being the superior vessel. Right? And there's another thing. Being the superior vessel means something. You understand? It means that you ought to be the provider, the nourisher. You ought to be the protector. You ought to be the teacher. You understand? You are the one that your family would look to for guidance. You understand? On how to navigate, on how to live. You are the one. You understand? You are the leader. Right? Let me get cherish it.
Strong's G 2282. Thalpo. Thalpo.
It says to warm, keep warm, to cherish with tender love, to foster with tender care. Right? And let me see what it means in the etymon. Cherish, it says to hold as dear, treat with tenderness and affection. To hold dear, right? We go down to trying to get the next one. But I caress. So right, that is it on the cherish. To hold as dear, treat with tenderness and affection. Right? So the same way a man will treat himself is the way he's supposed to treat his wife, with that love, with that affection, with that nurturing spirit, Verse 31. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. Verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. So you see, this is the order. This is the order. This is not one-sided. This is what it is. If a man requires respect, he requires honor, he requires that position, and he requires his wife to be submissive, to be obedient unto him, it is only fair that in return, he does his part as well. Nurture and nourish, love and cherish. You hear the words they say? To warm with tender love and all these manner of things. That's how we ought to be to her. You understand? There's no going around it. Verse 33 say, let all of us love our wife even as ourselves, and let the wife reverence her husband. Right? So you respect me and I love you, you know? And in that will create a unity, will create a strong bond, will create a strong family. Colossians chapter 3 verse 19. Husbands, I read verse 1, they say family relations. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands as it is fit in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto the Lord. Right, so let me see what these words mean. I believe love, right, agape, right, it will be the same word. Let me look up bitter.
Strong's G 4087. Picrino. Picrino.
It says to make bitter, to produce a bitter taste in the stomach, to embitter, exasperate, render angry, indignant, to be embittered, irritated, to visit with bitterness, to grieve, deal bitterly with. We get that in this one time. Here we say, having a harsh taste, sharp, cutting, angry, full of animosity, cruel. To bite, bitterness of taste or smell, also anguish, grief, misery, ill will, malice. So you're not supposed to be evil to your wife. You're not supposed to treat her unfairly. You understand? Let me say you come home, cause I heard a story about this. A man came home from work and his wife was just about finished cooking, but she didn't take out the food yet. The food was almost done. Probably had to wait like 5 minutes again. And this resulted in her being beaten. Real bad. You understand? And you remember, a woman and a woman fighting is different than a man and a woman fighting. A man could seriously inflict deadly damage upon a woman. And this man began to beat his wife because he couldn't wait 5 minutes. And that I folly, by failure. You understand? That is you being bitter. You beating your wife or something like that. That is being bitter. You shunning off your wife. You understand? That is being bitter. That is being ill will towards her. You have been full of animosity. Every time your wife had asked you a question, you had a bite at her. You had to answer her sharply. You had to talk to her with her attitude or with her anger. Every time. That is not you dealing with love. That is you being bitter. And it's saying here, don't be bitter against them, but rather to love them. You understand? So there's two sides, right? The same way the Lord requires them to act a certain way towards us, we act a certain way towards them. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, it says, likewise ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous. So it said, dwell with your wife according to knowledge. Right? Knowledge.
Strong's G 1108. Gnosis. Gnosis.
It says knowledge signifies in general intelligence, understanding, the general knowledge of Christian religion. The deeper, more perfect and enlarged knowledge of this religion, such as belongs to the more advanced, of things lawful and unlawful for Christians, moral wisdom, such as is seen in right living. So you have to deal with them according to knowledge, right? Not to be bitter, not to be evil with them, but deal with them with wisdom, right? Is a man's duty to teach his wife. Remember, we look up the word nourish, which goes into like to grow up or to train up something. So it's a man's duty to teach his wife and steer her on the correct path. Okay, you lead these women out there to do whatever they want, they will end up in destruction. You understand? That is why the father would pick, you understand, a husband for his daughter. Because you leave these women to pick. I mean, we see today. You leave these women to pick. And what they picking? God man. God man in your hole. You understand? They're going by the God man. Right? Who beating them. These women are unable to pick. They would choose the gunman over a man who had his shit together. And they will put himself with he why? Because he boring. They were excitement. You understand? Foolish, you know? Truly foolish, you know? That's why the man used to pick the husband for the daughter and the spouse on him. Because some of these women, they really don't know the head from the dish from the shoulder. You understand? So it's say dwell with them according to knowledge. You have to teach them, you have to guide them, you have to steer them on the correct path. Book of Sirach chapter 4 verse 30. It say, be not as a lion in thy house, nor frantic among thy servants. You understand? So don't be a lion in your house. You understand? Again, don't be bitter, but be loving unto a wife that is worthy of love. You understand? If a woman is doing everything that she has to do and is standing right by you and is pleasing you and is, trying her best to be that helpmeet, to be that proper subordinate in your life, then reciprocate that with love. Reciprocate that with nourishment and cherish her. We went into the definitions of these words, right? And that is it. That is how a man and a woman, that is how the relationship's supposed to be. It ain't supposed to be the woman usurping authority over the man. It ain't supposed to be all of us are equal and wherever the woman say goes. You understand? That just brings confusion. That's why these marriages never last anymore. Because everyone want to rule. Everyone want to be arrogant and prideful. Nobody want to fit into the position that they were created for. Squares trying to be circles, and circles trying to be triangles. It wouldn't work. You understand? The man is the leader of the household, right? You look up the Abba, which means A refers to the oxide, which is strength. Leader, and it means head, and Ba goes into household. You understand? So you put Abba together is the strength of the household, the leader of the household, the head of the household. That would means to be a father. That would means to be a husband. To be the leader, the guider, the provider, the protector, that pillar in the house. And Ama, is same oxide, and think Ma goes into waters. So Ama would be that strong water, which is what the glue, right? Glue is like a strong water, a strong liquid, and what that does is keep the household together, and that is what the woman does, because she received the instructions from the husband and she teaches it onto the children, so she aids in growing them up in the right way. She cooks and she cleans and she makes sure that the house is a peaceful environment for both husband, children, and herself. You understand? She makes it as I say, a peaceful, a wonderful environment to be in. To where the husband, he not out in a bar somewhere because he didn't want to go home. You understand? He actually want to go home, right? He can't wait to get off work to go home and be with his wife and his children because the environment is an environment of love. You understand? It's a relaxed environment. It's a peaceful environment. And she is that glue. She pleasing him. You understand? She pleasing him. She doing the things that she's supposed to. Right? She's secure and she also. And then he doing what he had to do as well. And that unity will make things work. You understand? But we would only see such things in the kingdom of heaven. Because our people are incapable. Our women are incapable of being a virtuous woman. And then a man ain't gonna wanna love no harlot or love a boisterous, prideful woman. You know? But yeah, I hope this was edifying. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakwadash, Shalom.